How we doing, fellas? Back with another video, and in this video I'm gonna let you know how you can fall in love with the work, because as you can probably predict, if you look at work as a game, if you look at business as a game and you genuinely fall in love with the work, like you genuinely have desire to get up and work, then everything else will come as a byproduct. If you can figure out how to fall in love with the process and the work, you will get what comes from the work, the money, the lifestyle, the success at default, because all you're focused on is the work. The reason everybody stays poor is because they're focused on the output. They're focused on how much money they make. They're focused on their cars, their lifestyle, all this stuff, how many sales they're getting, when they need to be focused on the work. Now, this mindset is something I've learned after consuming content, reading books, talking to other successful people about 3 years ago. And since I really went all in on this mindset, and even the more I go in on it, because you can be half in, half out on something, sort of think of something, not really use it all the time, but the more I make this like a cornerstone of my mindset, the more successful I become and the more output I get, funny enough, from only caring about the work. So input versus output. Input is the work, right? Input is every time you're working on something, and output is the money. If we're talking about business, if you're talking about lifting weights, the input is going to the gym and lifting weights, the output is the muscle, right? Whatever you get from it. So like I said, everyone's focused on the input. Everybody's scrolling on Instagram, on TikTok, looking at, oh my God, this guy's so jacked, this guy's got so much money, this guy's got this car, this guy's got this car, how can I get that, how can I get that? When what they don't see behind those social media posts, I'll just talk from my experience, they see my supercars, they don't see me making literally 1,700 videos on my sports content page, 10,000 hours of work. They don't see that. That's behind the scenes. People only show that output, so people have this fixation in their head to only care about the output, because work, sitting at your laptop, whatever you're doing, going to the gym, it's not that glamorous. Like, it's not that cool for people to see, especially with today's short, attention spans and all this dopamine that's fueled their brain with TikTok and Instagram. So if you can do what I'm about to tell you and genuinely fall in love with the work and only care about the input, you will have such a competitive advantage over everybody else who doesn't understand this mindset and who's only focused on the money, the sales, all these things. Now, there's a few tips to fall in love with the work. First is you got to be making money. Now, I know this is easy. I know this is, or not that easy. I know this is simple. I know this is what everybody would say. But the truth is, there's this famous quote, right? And it's 100% true. You're only tired when you're losing. So if you're winning all the time, right? Constantly, more money, new brand deals, new business deals, new connections, new networking, new cars, new traveling, like you're just living fast. You're just making money. You're never going to get tired. You're just going to keep up that pace. You're going to keep having energy. It's like during the day, right? For you guys, you probably notice that the more productive days you have is when you actually have a lot of things to do. You actually have more energy, which is surprising. You would think if you rest all the time, you have infinite energy. But if you sit on your ass and scroll TikTok for 3 hours, usually when you get up, you still feel tired. You feel drowsy. It's because your brain is going to keep you in what you're doing. If you're laying down, your brain's going to want you to keep laying down. If you're moving, your brain is going to give you more energy so you can keep moving. So even though if you're successful, if you're a high-level entrepreneur, if you're this, if you're that, you would think you would have less energy, but you'll actually have more, because you're going to be excited about what you're doing. You're going to be making money. You've got a lot of things to do, and you don't even have time to think about the tiredness. You don't even have time to think about fatigue. How do you think Elon Musk is doing all the things he's doing, Like Donald Trump, the president. How are these people doing what they're doing? It's because they literally have infinite energy, because their mindset is constructed in the right way, and so is their environment. And this principle with energy is the same thing with input and output. If you're so focused on, I got to do this today, I got to do this today, I got to work on this, I got to work on this, you won't have time to scroll on Instagram and compare yourself and be like, damn, I wish I had that car, I wish I made as much money as this guy. No, you'll only be focused on the work, and as a byproduct, you will automatically get that output. So number one is you got to be making money. And even though that sounds like a stupid point, the obvious one, the truth is, this is the business advice I give to everyone. If people ask me just for general business advice, which I get tons of DMs from you guys, I try to get back to all of them, but I say that you need to do whatever it takes to get to your first win. I don't care how bad your situation is. I don't care if you can't make any money and you've been working on it for a year. I don't care what it is. You have to go through the hell of business until you get your first win, your first sales, your first whatever you're trying to accomplish, because as soon as you get to that first win, you are going to feel a surge of energy that you've never felt before. You are going to feel so accomplished, and it's going to give you momentum. It's going to give you that surge of energy. I remember it like it was yesterday. After months of grinding content and building my page, I finally started to get a little traction about 4 or 5 months in, and I did a promotion for my business. I remember it was on Easter Sunday. I was at a family party, and I made $350 in my sports content business that day. I showed my family. I was so happy about it, and it was the first day I'd made like over $100, in a single day, like $350. I was like, wow, if I can keep this up, that's 10K a month. Like that was my goal at the time. So it was a real milestone for me, and I just remember showing my family. They were happy for me. I was so excited. That was like genuinely maybe the best day of my life, not because of the $350, but because, I got to spend that with my family, and I've been working at it for literally like 4 or 5 months without making any money, wanting to quit, wanting to do all these things, but I finally got there, and that's when everything started to turn for me. Because once you can feel that feeling, that real dopamine rush, not the BS you get from TikTok, not the BS you get from other things, partying, drugs, the real dopamine, when you go through something hard for months, building that business, and you finally get that paycheck, that is real dopamine, and that is going to get you addicted to keep wanting to get progress, to keep leveling up, keep leveling up. And it's amazing how quickly your standards change and how your basically just overall energy changes once you start making money. Like all I ever wanted as a kid was $1,000, because I used to be a huge sneakerhead. I'm like, bro, if I could get $1,000, I could buy like 5 pairs of shoes. I'd be good, right? And then when I got older, obviously 1,000 isn't that much money. Like the money or the dollar amount thrown around online is like 10K a month. I was like, oh my God, if I get 10K a month, I could get this car, I could have this apartment, all this stuff. Then I hit 10K a month, and I was like, shit, I need 100. And then I got to 100, and now I consistently make $70,000 to $100,000 a month. Like I've already made like 60 this month in my sports content business. It's like the 22nd, and that's not including some other stuff. But now, like I average like 70 to 100K a month, and I'm looking to get to that 250 a month, million a month, because you're always striving for more. And the point of that is that these things will become normalized to you. So to your advantage, once you get that first win, you're going to get addicted to it. And once you do it a few times, it's going to become normal to you. Then you're on the next level. Then you're on the next level. The hard part is getting from that 0 to 1, that 0 to that first win, that 0 to my Easter Sunday, right? Whatever you're doing, because that's when you're going through all this stuff. You're building your business. You're not making any money. All those negative thoughts come through. You're like, damn, should I do this? Should I not? But if you can override that and just straight through willpower and determination and discipline, get to that first win, no matter what it takes. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, right? Once you get there, that's when you'll build momentum in your life. So you need to do that. You need to be making money. Number 2 is perspective. And perspective, I can go at it a few different angles. But now that I'm successful, right? I've made a few $1 million. I'm 20 years old. Like I've done all right for my age, from my business. I understand that money, the destination, isn't as fulfilling as it promises to be. Now, am I fulfilled as an individual? To a certain extent, yes. Obviously, I want way more. I'm only 20 years old and I'm very ambitious. But for what I've done, yes, I am fulfilled, quote unquote, or happy, whatever you want to call it. But once you get that supercar, like I got my McLaren, I had an Aston Martin, thing got totaled, but I got my McLaren, right? And when I got that, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Of course you would. It's a supercar, and I was 18 years old. But even after just like a month, it became normal. Okay, I'm going to my car, I'm driving it. Is it fun to drive? Do I enjoy driving it? Yes, but because I don't have another car like to compare it to, and I can afford that and other supercars now, like that's my normal, right? So these things become normal to you, and as you mature, I say that as a 20-year-old, I know people are gonna laugh at me, but I feel like I got a pretty good worldview and experience, for my age. But once you mature and start making money, you realize it's not about the money, it's not about the car, it's about who you had to become to get that car. So where am I going with this? This video is about falling in love with the work, falling in love with the process. If you can zoom out and really understand, it'll be difficult if you haven't got to a point like I have with the McLaren or whatever that symbol is for you, the Rolex, whatever, But if you can zoom out and understand that once you get to that point, you're just going to climb the next mountain and then the next mountain and the next mountain. Like that's what I'm doing, right? And that's what everybody does. So if you can zoom out and understand that, then you'll realize that the best part of all this is the journey. The best part of all of it is where you're at right now, because that's what you're going to look back on. So when you're falling in love with the work, what are you doing? You're also being present. You're enjoying every moment because you're focused on what you're doing now. If you're focused on the outcome, the output, I like to call it, then you're focused on external events. You're focused on things that haven't happened yet. You're focused on things you can't control. The key to happiness is only focusing on what you can control. If you let things affect you that you simply cannot change with your own action, it's literally going to drive yourself crazy. And this is why so many people are unhappy, right? They try to change other people, whether it's a relationship, whether it's their friends, whether it's their job, whatever it is. They try to change things they can't change. They worry about things they can't control, and they don't worry about the things they can control to make their life as good as possible. So if you want to be happy and content as an individual, you need to only focus on what you can control. And all you can control when it comes to business and making money, which I know is why you guys are watching this video, is the work. You have to do so much work that it is simply unreasonable for you to not succeed. Hermosi said that, and it's an unbelievable quote. It's so true. Like, I'm a sports content creator, right? You guys probably don't know what that is. Some of you guys do who watch my content, but basically I have a sports media page. I post sports content. I work with betting apps. They pay me commission. That's how I make the majority of my money. Well, pretty much all my money. That's my business, right? I got a few other things, but that's what's made me like the $1.7 million at 20 years old. But anyway, when I started this business, right, I bought a course, spent all my money on it, $3K out of the $4K I had, but I went all in on it, right? So when I did that, I looked at the competition, right? Where am I trying to go? I looked at the top guys in my industry on Instagram, TikTok, the biggest followings, making the most money. And I was like, okay, these guys make good content, right? But they're only posting once a day, once every other day, once a week. So I was like, okay, I'm going to blow these guys out of the water since I'm starting. I got to catch up quick. I'm going to post 4 times a day. And I did that for 6 months. And a quick pause on this, just so you guys really understand it. Like I said, the main way I make money is through affiliate marketing with different betting apps. So basically, the more people that see my promo code, my deals, right, if I get commission, the more money I'm going to make. So the number one thing that makes my business go is content, is my views, my engagement, people seeing my content, right? So that's why this is the most important task in my business. But anyway, I posted 4 videos a day for literally 9 months, right? No, I mean, I basically still do depending on the season. I haven't like given that up, but this is just on the come up, right? So I posted that. 3 months in, right before that Easter Sunday, because I told you guys that was like the 4th month, I didn't get any followers. 4 videos a day. I was focused on making my content better. You know, I was grinding. I thought my content was good. I just couldn't get any views. Maybe I had a few hundred followers. And I realized, you know, once those negative thoughts started to come, once that, you know, inner bitch started to come and tell me, you should quit, you shouldn't do this isn't going to work, all this stuff, I realized that I have to override that. I spent all my money on this. I saw other people, the guy who sold me on it, the other people in the industry, I saw other people making tons of money, and I knew that I could get to that point, but I have to stick to it, right? So I overrode those negative thoughts. I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I made a deal to myself. I'm not going to stop. I'm done being a loser. I'm going to make this work, right? And 3 months in, right when those 3 months ended, that's when my page started to get traction. And over those next 3 months, I started my business in March of 2023. Over those next 3 months, my page blew up. I went from 0 to 75,000 followers on Instagram. And like I said, content, followers, engagement is the main way I make money with my business. So I knew that I was going to make a ton of money off that. And the reason I hadn't made much yet is because the biggest time, at least, you know, a few years ago, we would make money was during football season. The reason I say a few years ago is because now I've pretty much mastered my business. I do all sports. I make money all year round. But before, it was really just football, right? So football season was coming around in about 2 months, and that is when I was going to monetize this audience I had built, right? So I went to 75K followers, and then 3 months after that, 9 months total, March of 2023 to December of 2023, I made $150,000 profit in my business. I monetized every single person I had built my audience the previous like 6-7 months, and I made $150K profit in that month. Now, I had months where I made 10K, like in September, and then it went to 40, 90, then 150. I used December as an example because that was my biggest month. Over 6 figures profit in my first year, and I went from 0 in March, that's when I started my page, literally, to 150K profit in 9 months. 0 to 150K profit in 9 months, less than a year. I completely changed my life. Not 10K a month, not 20, 150,000. So the point is, you can change your life fast. But it wasn't 2K a month, 5K a month, 10K a month. No, I had no money for the first 4 or 5 months. I spent it all on learning how to do this, and then everything came in a wave. So, like I said, you need to focus on getting that first win. You need to get to that first win no matter what it takes, because that is when you're going to be filled with energy. That's when you're going to start building momentum, and then boom, the success will hit you like a wave. Everyone thinks business, who doesn't know anything, is a linear graph like this. It is not. It is nothing, 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 and then boom, spike, you make it, right? So you need to basically be in the game long enough so that you can catch that wave. You can catch that wave of success. And the reason this goes along with my second point, perspective, is because if you can zoom out and look at it that way, you can understand that the wave hasn't hit yet. The wave hasn't come. You're in this still ocean. But eventually, if you keep working, you're going to get to that wave of success. So even though you're not making money yet, you're not getting the results yet, you're not getting all these things, you know that that wave is coming. So, number one, you need to be making money. Number two, you need to have perspective. And perspective can go into the next point, basically, which is what I'm saying is you got to understand why you're doing this, right? Why are you getting rich? Do you want to take care of your family? Do you want a supercar? Do you want a full life of freedom? Why are you doing it? And if you get to a point like I am now, where, because all I wanted was freedom, right? Where I'm working every day, but I have freedom. Like I was in Europe a few weeks ago, like I can work from anywhere. And with my financial status, I really do have genuine freedom. Like it's easy, like I was saying, to just focus on climbing the next mountain, get better. But you can zoom out and realize like, wow, I'm in what I wanted. Like I'm in what I prayed for right now. And even though you guys aren't rich yet, you have different circumstances in your life which worked out. Like you begged for, maybe you prayed for if you're religious. Like you wanted that and you said that would make you happy. But for some reason, you're there and you're focused on the next thing. So you're not happy, right? So it's easy to just keep getting in this cycle. But if you want to enjoy the journey and fall in love with the work, you need to be present. You need to be like, wow, I was here, now I'm here, and I'm really thankful for this position. This is what I wanted. Am I going to keep working and getting better? Yes. But while I'm here, let me appreciate this moment because this is what I've wanted. And I try my best to do that, right? To be as grateful as possible. I'm Christian, so I believe in God. I try and thank God, as much as I can for this situation I'm in. Not just when bad times come, but good times as well. But if you ever want to get to a point like that where you can really feel proud of yourself, feel proud of the position you were in compared to where you are now, and really be like, wow, we did this, you have to have an extreme level of self-discipline. And even though this doesn't really fall in line with falling in love with the work, if you have that self-discipline and you finally start practicing it day after day, you will get to that first win, you will build momentum, and then by that, you will fall in love with the work. But everything stems from self-discipline, right? So if you want to get to a point like this, you have to do whatever it takes. Like you have to be a little bit insane. Even though I'm telling you, wow, I'm grateful for this position, all this stuff, which I am now, that doesn't mean it was easy to get here. Like it was an absolute grind. Your parents are going to argue with you, especially if you're younger, you still live there, you're going to lose friends, you're going to get made fun of, you're going to have the negative thoughts, like you're going to have to go through this. But use some common sense. If it was super easy to get rich, everybody would be driving around in Lamborghinis and Ferraris and our economy would be crushed. Like there's a reason they call it the top 1%. So you got to ask yourself, are you willing to make that sacrifice of giving up, your fake friends, having to argue with your parents, having to do some work, aka clicking buttons on your phone to live a life of freedom? Or do you want to go down the normal path where you just go to college, get in debt, have a job, whatever, get a wife, hopefully she doesn't divorce you, have kids, all that stuff, right? And not get judged and be a normal person and not have the freedom life, but also not have the peasant life, be somewhere in the middle. Now, personally, I can't live like that. But if you want to live like that, that's fine. The point is you have to make a decision. Like there's not an easy path. It may be easy to go to college and do those things the normal route, but it's not going to be easy when you look on your Instagram and you see my feed, living a life of freedom, which you wanted when you were younger, and you gave that up to have that normal life. So each path is hard, right? But I rather, take the hard up front. Pause. Wow. But I'd rather go through the struggle up front so I can live that life of freedom, right? And those people who make that decision, it's obviously harder to be your own boss, build a business, go through all this stuff, be, that lone wolf in society. But to go through that stuff, that will give you a greater reward. The bigger the sacrifice, the bigger the reward, right? So you need to have self-discipline. You need to have perspective on understanding that, okay, this is going to suck. This is going to be hard. But as soon as I make this deal with myself that I'm going to go through with this, building that business, getting rich, whatever it is, I'm not going to stop till it's done. And I promise you, once you start making money, like I said, once you have some perspective, you are going to fall in love with the work, and you're going to build a life for yourself where you're genuinely going to be excited to wake up. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you want to learn more about what I do, sports content creation, how I got rich, I'm going to leave a free 15-minute training below, because about a year and a half ago, after about 2 years of my business, when I made a bunch of money, I started a program called Sports Creator Academy. We now have over 60 guys, and it's very successful. I teach exactly what I do, how to build and monetize a sports content page, how I've made over $1.7 million in the business, and how you can too. And we've had a bunch of winning students. Fantasy Football Sav, Chad Slavinsky last year was our best guy. He made $70,000 in December alone, $70K profit in a month in his first year. Ryan McDermott, Fantasy Football MI, makes $15K a month as a college student at Michigan State, and he bought his dream AMG. Like, this business is genuinely the best opportunity on the planet right now. It makes me a ton of money, and it makes all of our students a ton of money as well. And shortly, the reason this business is so good is because you literally get 1,000% margins, right? If you get a deposit, on an app that we're affiliated with, Underdog, PrizePicks, Chalkboard, we get you immediate deals with all the best betting apps, right? But say Underdog, right? If someone deposits with your code from one of your videos, and just puts in $10, Underdog, or whatever app it is, will pay you $100 each. So you're making a $10 sale and you're getting a $100 commission. Now, this is what I've done tens of thousands of times to make millions in commissions. This is what I do. You build a viral sports page, you get a ton of people on these apps, and then you reap the rewards, aka getting the commission. So that's what Fantasy Football Sav did. How did he make $70,000 in a month last year? Well, it was December. It was the NFL playoffs. He used the content systems we teach, and basically he had a video go for 1.2 million views. If 1.2 million people see your video, you're gonna have a few hundred people sign up. He had 400 people sign up, and he made $40,000 just from that video alone. The rest of the month he made about 30K, so 70K total. If you guys want to learn how to do that, it's genuinely the best business on the planet. Talk about sports for an hour a day and get rich. Check out the free 15-minute training below, but only if you're serious. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my team's time. There's a reason you can't just buy it, and there's only 60 members. It's very close-knit, and you can't join if you don't have the right mindset, if you're not ready to take over this industry, because like I said, we are very close-knit. It's a very one-on-one program, but if you're serious about that, check it out. And then lastly, guys, subscribe to the channel. All I post on here is every single thing I know about getting rich, because I went from nothing to a millionaire at 19 years old. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one.